All right, and here we are doing a recap of episode number 14 of Real Housewives of Miami, a show that we love that is kind of the franchise that's winning. People really like it. I myself like Larsa, love Larsa, think she's an incredible asset to the show. If she were to leave the show, it would be a little bit boring. Anyway, doing episode 14, we'll transition right into episode 15 shortly also, so you'll be able to see that. Russell, my co-host, is away for this particular recap, but we will have episode 15, and then gosh, we are just coming so close to being with the finale, which I had only anticipated doing up until the season, but now with all the stuff that always goes on outside of the show too, you're almost like, should we recap the reunion? I guess in the comments you could say, do you want us to recap the reunion also? So anyways, because we're going solo here on the phone, in terms of my notes are here on the phone, bear with me. It's always fun to do an episode where there's different opinions or whatnot. So I will try my best to scratch my head and see, let's think of the other opinion here and see what somebody else would think in terms of, Team Larsa or Team Adriana or whoever. If you're catching the episode for the first time, please go back and watch our old episodes. I think I got a little not video. Yeah, I got a little yeah, we'll hear it. Walk with me here. Let's go on a walk. So here's some of the old episodes that are already up there. This one's saying who deserves a mojito. This is in terms of all the housewives that are part-timers. Who do you think would be best as a full-timer? So we've got that on, again, youtube.com/randomlyRJ Jr. This one's really fun too. It's talking about all the housewives that were formerly on the show, in terms of Miami. Of course, Leah will be on this season, but which one would you want to come back? Or just a couple notes about them, especially Anna, because Anna has a podcast with her daughter and she had some stuff to say for sure. And this one actually did very well too. Myself and Russell, we talk about the complicated issues that go on with divorce in general and how it pertains to Lisa and really just how it pertains to the show this season. A couple other notes in terms of video. Like I said, next week or next episode rather, we'll have back to two co-hosts, but right now it's just going to be randomly with his random Larsa opinions. And then I'm going to say what I think about Julia. Is Julia like, they use the term, Carol used it with Sonia, and I don't like to overuse a term, but this whole like, I'm nice. Is she nice nasty? Is that what we're really seeing? Because Julia is not. I mean, the Barracuda thing wasn't even funny, but I mean, again, we're all reserved to our own opinions. But for me, when I watch the show, Julia could be your cup of tea. She's not my cup of tea. My cup of tea are the women that they just rock it. So this is a clip back from when Lisa and Larsa did their first initial press run for the series.
You guys right here, please. Right here too. Thank you. Right here. Down the end. Thank you. Over the shoulder. This one. The other shoulder. Thank you.
The other shoulder. And so if you just rock with me and vibe with me, man. Team Larsa, Team Lisa. I just love them so much. But we love the series, and that's number one. That is the good thing, that we love the series. A lot of people, like myself, loved the series, and we're like, why was it put on a break, all those years? Real quick before we do this, this is number 14, episode 14. Very funny stuff from Kiki, so we got to look forward to that. And again, like I said, I'll be back with my co-host, who is Russell Ray Silva, also has a show on the Peacock streaming platform, which is called Create the Escape. I believe we have a little shot of that. Create the Escape is on the Peacock streaming platform, so go check that out. And so when he's not co-hosting with me, well, I'm not saying that he's doing this show was a bit ago, but at the same time, it's a great show. Create the Escape was a great show. Hopefully it comes back. If Miami came back, Create the Escape, like, check it out. Go watch it on the Peacock streaming platform. It's Miami's got all the mess. If you want to go to Create the Escape, it's a little bit more like it's good wholesome television, which we like. Speaking of not wholesome television, and then we'll get right into Marisol shows up with the bullhorn and the cockies in her words, and we'll ask, we'll talk about what we feel about that. In terms of more fun and a little more messy, I will play a quick video in terms of what you see within the co-hosting here. So this one was actually very funny. Which one was it? Oh, okay. This is when we were talking about Adriana and her big butt. We all have opinions, but some of us showed more than others. Check it out. What else do we have? We have everyone getting ready for this big get together. Well, that was the get together. So that was like the fun side, or the nice
Adriana's butt.
Oh, tell me about Adriana's butt. Yes, we saw Adriana's butt. Boom, there it is.
You know what? Here's the thing. Look, I'm so tired of everybody getting fake butts. Just stop. Just stop. I mean, I get it. If you're like this, I get it. You want a little hey, little whoa, Come on.
Well, I plan on getting the hey and the whoa. Hello, doctor.
You need a little hey, little whoa.
Yeah. Because I'm like this. I need the hey and the whoa.
Look, I've worked. Let me just show you. I've worked very hard.
Oh, no, this one.
Hold on. I've worked very hard for what
Look at that dookie
here. Okay, thank you.
Not a live demonstration.
And it is possible. If I can do it, you can do it too.
This YouTube channel, what in the actual F? Anyway, you can expect more silly stuff like that on the next episode. But let's talk about this episode. Episode number 14. I'm going to defer to the notes here, so please bear with me. We have Marisol. She's arrived. She's got the bullhorn, the cockies, as I mentioned. They have fun with it. I don't really take it as a big surprise that Marisol showed up like that. I feel like we kind of knew, you're almost kind of thinking like, did she ever have a supposed COVID? I'm kind of thinking she flew with the crew. She was in the Bahamas the whole time, but okay, give us the story that suddenly she surprises them. And it was a surprise. I'll talk about what I feel in terms of Adriana and her connection to feeling overwhelmed, within now Adriana has to try to express herself with Alexia, but then Marisol's there and how that kind of really makes her sort of act out of line. Let me see here. What's the next thing here? So we have a fun Larsa bikini moment. And Larsa does say that Real Housewives of Miami has the nicest roster of buttocks. So, it's the thing about Miami, it's always going to give you a lot of skin, whether you like Larsa's butt or not everyone does. And she says she does it from the squatting. So, she says it, we got to just be like, all right, girl. All right. But I love Larsa, so that is not anything bad. Lisa is talking to Julia about Lenny. Lisa wishes that she could go back and change everything. Now, this is a real hard situation in terms of Lisa feeling like she's got to go back and changing everything, because the reality is we know there's that aspect of what is the Bonnie Raitt song I always refer to? You can't make anyone love you. I can't make me love you if you don't, or whatever. You know the song I'm talking about, right? And it's like I feel like this is a very honest Lisa moment. I, for one, have not gotten tired of this. I know a lot of people are like, I'm so tired of more Lisa and Lenny stories. I think it's because it didn't take this Lisa and Lenny thing, this big season, storyline, for me to like Lisa. I've always thought she was really cool for the show. So if anything, now I'm just getting a connection a little bit more. With that being said, I could understand some of the perspectives that people have said, which is, I wish we could get more of Lisa outside of it always being about Lenny. But listen, it hasn't been that long. So her saying that she wishes she could go back and change everything, that makes sense. Like, that's the part of things that are very vulnerable, but that we're slightly embarrassed to talk about. But, I feel like she's giving us a lot by saying, I feel like she's trying to say, or she is saying, I don't know if you disagree. It feels like she's trying to say, I'm upset with myself because he did me that wrong, but I still rock with him. I still love him. And I think that is something that was nice to see on TV, because it's hard to see, but you cannot act like that's not such a true thing. She goes on, and this is like kind of, I guess, finally moving on, but she goes on to say, I wrote him a letter. I wrote Lenny a letter. I think the letter was a bit of a closure for her, because though, again, others could look at that like, that's so silly, he did you wrong. why would you even want to be with him, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes you got to let people process how they process. The wool was, what is it called? The rug was pulled from under her. She's just doing the best she can. Small moment in the episode, but it was something that I did enjoy. Okay, so let's get to this mess that happens right away. I was realizing it when I rewatched the episode. I was like, this happened so early on. Excuse me. Actually, do you mind if I get a little glass of water? Let's do that real quick. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because I was like, oh, I don't want to get you got to drink your water. Got to drink your water. Okay, so Adriana expresses expresses that her distance from Marisol, distance meaning Adriana feels like there's not a connection. Now, this is going to be a tough episode because Adriana is going to have a lot of good points, but she's not going to have carried them out that well. Adriana gives a laundry list of all the issues she has with Marisol. I guess she's kind of been doing the same thing with Alexia pre-Marisol showing up in the Bahamas. But then, only then, does Adriana basically say to Marisol that she chose not to have sex with Marisol's ex-boyfriend, as if I'm going to show you what loyalty looks like. Like basically saying, I could have hooked up with this guy, but I didn't. And that's how you're loyal. And by the way, you weren't loyal. Oh, real quick before we get there. A moment that I really liked was when and I know it's like mean. Adriana was trying to explain what she didn't like or what were the issues. And Adriana's like, just on. I'm sorry, not Adriana. Marisol was like, just on with it already. Like, ay, por favor. Like, what is going on? Where's the story going to end, darling? And if you've ever watched my recaps, I live for a little bit of like that whole, like, what are we doing here? Let's speed it up. Let's get to the issues. I don't need the song and the dance. Let's be direct. That's the problem with Adriana. She's not exactly direct, but others will think opposite. So I will keep a spot in my heart for Adriana's side that she's like, I'm trying to connect with this girl, and yet she just like made fun of me in public in front of everybody. But the thing is, Adriana has to understand is by you talking the way you're talking, you are kind of trying to almost, I wouldn't say you're trying to sun Marisol completely, but it's just not the time to do that. That is much more of a one-on-one conversation, I feel. And I always say, if somebody comes with these things, you can't expect them to have your peace of mind and your mellow attitude. I'm not saying Adriana was mellow, but the way that you're going to get that, Adriana, in future is say, Marisol, I've been really connected with Alexia. There's something I want to talk to you about. But you saying that all loud at the table, and I can't be next to you because I don't want COVID, and and it's all makes sense. I get it; it all makes sense. But there are times where I can sympathize or understand somebody else being defensive, maybe because I'm a defensive son of a gun, and I'm always like, "Excuse me," like I always have an opinion. But I just I did favor with Marisol. I did. If again, I'm not trying to hate on Adriana, but if you have a perspective that's different, of course, throw it in the comments, because not in a bad way. I don't see Adriana's side, but why do I need to see Adriana's side? Julia does that enough for everybody. We'll get there. We will get there. Adriana goes on to say that the ex-boyfriend, now see, this is where whatever you're dealing with, Adriana, please deal with it, darling, because it doesn't, and I guess I have to look in the mirror too. We all do. It doesn't matter how noble you're trying to be within these stories if you do eventually, like, you're by being not direct, by never bringing that to them, and even by saying I didn't bring that to them because I didn't want to hurt them. Like, all of the things make sense. But if you think about it all, Adriana, you did it the most hurtful way to really make Marisol feel, quite negative about herself. So anyways, what was said was, this was hold on, let me get my notes here. Adriana, my gosh, I'm gonna get, ay, por favor, just like she says. I'm gonna get the notes elsewhere. Okay, so here's the part that Adriana, you're noble, you're good friendship, you're trying to prove a point. Just, the point was not proved. Adriana goes on to say that the ex-boyfriend indeed never was in love with Marisol. So that wasn't just tough for Marisol to receive that information. And Marisol is no victim in this. Again, she taunts a little bit and she plays the game, but it really, I did feel for Marisol because it's a double negative. It's like you not only get that information, which you're like, your stomach is doubting, like maybe like is he really saying that? And then you go back to a place and it's hurtful and it was a tough breakup, all these things. And then it's also coming from somebody who's telling you we're not being friendly right now. Yeah, we're not being friendly because we're not connecting. But here's let me say in front of all the other girls, here are the things that I did that made me loyal, because I could have screwed your ex, and by the way, he never loved you ever. Adrian, it's not making sense, it's not adding up, but we do understand that you might be in pain. Anyways, let's move on, because there's other aspects of Adriana within this episode that start to come to the forefront, I guess. Larsa and Nicole make amends, kind of. They hug. There are so many Dr. Nicole fans, so I'm going to let it be. However, I just wish it would have been a real making amends. And before anyone gets all excited, excited. Yes, I guess Larsa just said it to pacify her and just to get on with it. But I really want you to realize that Nicole loves this. Like, this is exciting. I once said, actually, I got the clip. So since I'm co-hosting by myself, well, that would be no co-hosting. Since I'm co-hosting by myself, this is how we got here. This is how we got the problem with Larsa and Dr. Nicole. This is what was the real truth. And then I'm going to give my opinion on their hug. So this is what I had thought of where a lot of the problems came with Larsa and Dr. Nicole. And another one, check this. It feels like Dr. Nicole is talking to Larsa like she's a fan that didn't get in, and so now she's mad. Like her preference, like Adriana, they wanted to be Larsa's fan, not friend, but they were just fan. They were just the fan, and because they get to occupy the same spaces, they get real mad about that. But they would have preferred the other side. I just feel really like, what was the issue? Ooh, what was the issue? And then I went on to say this, and then I'm gonna do these two Larsa affirming clips, because it's always Team Larsa all day, every day. But for you who don't like Larsa and love Dr. Nicole, you're being fed the lie that is Dr. Nicole. No, she's fine. I don't got no real issue with Dr. Nicole. But here's another part of what I thought when I think of kind of like the Larsa Dr. Nicole thing. Let me play this real quick. I did not feel that Larsa had any animosity towards Dr. Nicole. In fact, when Dr. Nicole mentioned what she mentioned, Larsa's like, huh? What? Like, and then Dr. Nicole, who I have been thinking is the coolest new cast member on Bravo, Peacock rather, she says, well, we haven't really got to sit with each other because, it's been a little bit weird. Larsa's like, what's your name, dear? Like, who are you? And then Dr. Nicole goes on to say, but that's none of our faults. It takes two to tango. If I'm Larsa, I'm looking at this clown in front of me like, who are you? I don't even know you. And you're telling me that we have an issue. What is going on?
That is the problem right there.
Those clips are the gift that keeps on giving. So do you understand my point? It's like, even though Larsa might not be on her best behavior, Nicole, though she may not tell you, she is living for this moment. She is all about this moment. She was in medical school, and she was watching tons of Kardashian episodes. So she's besides herself that she gets to, share space with Larsa, but she's turning it around to this other thing. In my mind, and if you disagree, you disagree. It is wonderful. I have never said Dr. Nicole is not one I enjoy, but I definitely feel like Dr. Nicole, this was the moment for her. She is excited about this. She couldn't wait for Larsa to misstep. Larsa misstepping brought her to like, oh my gosh, I am besides myself. Like, I get to spar one-on-one with somebody that I wanted to be a friend with. But then last season in the Hamptons, that episode, they weren't really friends. And that really got Dr. Nicole hot and bothered. She got real sad about it. And so she was like, let me concoct a plan, and I'm just gonna basically annoy the F out of you. No, I mean, she wasn't annoying, but at the same time, if somebody is not rocking with you, why are you walking up to them? I'm referring to the time that did create the problem. And I am, slap on the wrist, shunning, shame on Larsa for, what she said, and that accusation about the whole hospital or whatever the case, but it's a show that, like, you're not watching a PBS documentary. You can't pick and choose, oh, you like the drama, but then, like, somebody hits you with drama and then you don't like the drama. I'm talking about the fans. Dr. Nicole, her point of it is, all I'm telling you is, don't be fooled that she doesn't love this. She loves this so much. This couldn't be a better situation. And especially that she's been able to recruit Gertie and Adriana and Julia. Lisa's kind of been not in the picture. So it was even a better time. It was like, ooh, this is my time to go up against Larsa. Like, if it makes Dr. Nicole happy to, like, do that, great. I really, this is just my opinion, and I got to move on because we got to rush through the episode here. I just really feel like, do not be shocked if you find out later that, like, this was everything Dr. Nicole wanted. Like, yes, there's two sides of my brain, right? I can say, Larsa, damn, you didn't have to hit her like that, in terms of the accusation, because that is, that's a really tough alleged situation. But make no mistake, this is what Dr. Nicole wanted. This is what she is besides herself. Like I said, in medical school, she was watching the Kardashians. She saw this gal on TV, and she was like, oh my gosh, oh my, she was so excited. And then when Larsa didn't, really respond in regular life, that's when all of Dr. Nicole's stuff came up, and she was off to make a moment with Larsa. And she is winning in the moment, so I'm not going to knock that. But you're just not going to tell me Larsa's not, like, she's the show. She's the whole show. And if Larsa leaves tomorrow, she'll leave tomorrow, and she'll still be good. Some people don't need this damn TV to be feeling excited about themselves, and Dr. Nicole should feel really good about herself too. She got a great life, great looking husband. I mean, I can't go on. I mean, I could run a clip right now. We have another clip, but I was gushing over the man, Dr. Anthony. I call him Dr. Anthony. Dr. Anthony was, the ham and cheese. He was the bee's knees, all of it. 100 degrees. Yes. For Dr. Anthony. So I'm not against them. I just really do see, I see the goals, I see the directions, I see the angle and the way it's played. Again, I've been behind reality TV cameras, I've done segment producer work. Like, I see a little bit more than maybe you see, and that's okay too. That's okay. All right, let's move on. Okay. Okay, the ladies are getting ready for a spiritual healer. I really do like that. I'll talk about that once we get there. Marisol throws those stones off the balcony. Again, kind of side with her. I'll go back to it once we get Julia's opinion of all that. And Julia, nice girl, Julia. So nice, she's nasty. Okay, so we have a beautiful dinner on the beach. Oh my gosh, let's focus on the positive. What a gorgeous situation, right? I want to go and have a dinner like that on the beach. I do. I'm just, like, so jealous in a good way. So anyways, the healer is there for rage release, type of an exercise. And I wanted to tell you, I really do think those things are important. This is a serious moment. This is not a Housewives moment. I think they are important. I think when we saw all the gals try to do this at the beach, there was a lot of, like, nerves that were still there. But I think if you actually let it go, and I'm not trying to, like, give Kiki all the applause, but it really does do something for you. I think all of those things are there, and they're present, and they're within us, and we do have to get those out. Those you have to release. Kiki said it's like an ejaculation, and you know what? it is a release. So Kiki was funny this whole episode. She had the peeing moment, she had the really releasing, and I do wish a couple of the other women could have really leaned in and really maybe I say that because I feel like I've got a lot to release right now, but I feel like that's a tough exercise because if you can actually go with it, I think there's some value in it, right? I think there's some value in it. Much like we had the shaman on the Key West episode, they all really gave, and the more you give in certain things, the more you'll get back. So it didn't really feel like they 100% enjoyed it. Um, it was still kind of funny for them. But I think if they would have leaned in a little bit, I like how Lisa was like, "Oh yeah, Lenny's the reason that I'm gonna, feel the way I feel." I just think if they would have leaned in a little bit more, they could have got that much more of a benefit. I'm not saying they didn't get a benefit; they just could have got more of a benefit. Again, it was called the Rage and Release. This was the exercise. One more thing about Kiki, I just mentioned a couple things, but she also went on to tell the world, and we were listening, that her vagina chakra has actually been closed. So that's why she was very excited. She wanted to yell so much, and she wanted to rage, and she wanted to release so much that that would have got back in order. She would have farted, much like you do in yoga. And while that's all funny, I think that is what that so like if we're playing seriously upon the healer, that's what the healer is trying to get out of you. I know it's like funny too, but the healer has probably been through all of those things. So seen that healer has seen people really go for it. So the problem is I just don't think everyone went for it, but Kiki did. But Kiki did. So we're happy about that. Later on we have Marisol. It comes up rather. I do love the way Marisol sort of taunted Adriana. So while I'm going to say Adriana just too much, there was a little taunting, like, "Oh, I see Julia's eyes. It looks like she wants to say something." And while you could say that's mean on Marisol's side of things, is it really mean? Is it really mean? Like, there's just like two types of people. There's people who are direct and there's people who aren't. People who aren't, sometimes, this is just my opinion, they feel like they get to be more noble than you because they didn't really like come at you with something. Express yourself. Julia, if you got issues, say it. So Marisol calling you out and saying, "Oh, it looks like Julia's got something to say." Maybe she did. Don't walk next to me with that attitude, like in terms of if I'm Marisol and I see Julia and I see all this. I see all this. I see it. I see it. We see it. And you just got called upon it, in terms of Marisol said, well, what's up? I just don't really love people posing as the nice person. And I get a worry that Julia really works hard to give us that, but like she's not. She might be nice nasty. She might, again, that term was something that Carol said to Sonia, and I don't think the two are the same, but the phrasing of that word, yeah, nice, she's nice, she's nice, she's nice. You know how many nice people I've been around my whole life that were actually shittier than people who didn't have the warmest reputation, they minded their business, they expressed themselves, whatever, whatever. This whole my identity is being nice, let me tell you, a lot of them aren't. And you could disagree, but I'm telling you from my experience, a lot of the people who pose as nice, it's you better watch out because it's not really always what it is. Now, for me, I'm a lovely, warm-hearted human being, but I never walk around telling the world that my personality is nice. But if I got love for you, I'm going to give you all of the goodness. You know what I mean? Just take it in stride. If you disagree and you could present a different perspective because you really like Julia, then let me know. But what I see, I'm like, I'm always, what did Wendy Williams used to say? I'm looking at you I'm squinting. I'm like, it doesn't look like you're always the person you're portraying. That's just what I feel. Anyways, let's get to the issue at hand. Marisol says, I don't want the gift. The gift spooked me. This is another thing. It's like, why? I feel like, and it's happening a lot on Housewives, like people are rushing to become the victim. They're like, it's like Marisol can't say nothing, and then it's like, well, oh, I got those for you, and they were for good vibes, and and you didn't like them. We need to be more confident. We need to be more confident. We need to be more confident. We do. We do. We need to be more confident. And I only try my very best to give the perspective of, like, in my personal life, you know, you think everyone's always been like giving in terms of, I've been around situations where the people weren't giving or they're more standoffish. I can't just write that off as them being a certain way. People will let you know. It's like Danielle said in The Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'll let you know when I'm threatening you, which I'm not saying that. But we too oftentimes rush to the conclusion that there's an issue. Sometimes, have you ever thought, this is for those who see someone else and, try to make it like, well, I tried to give them the magic stones and, she didn't receive it and woe was me. Have you ever not thought maybe there's something going on in her own life that she needs to deal with, she needs to process? Maybe it was a triggering thing. Like, we need to pull our confidence up a little bit so we don't let the other person dictate and decide that they're somehow against you or being mean to you. Yes, Marisol's probably like through with the Julia, but at the same time, like, Julia, how do you expect us to have a friendship if you're so shaky bakey like that? I need you to be a little more confident. Is what I feel. Anyways, that's sort of how everything started, and then it gets even worse this dinner. Like I said, Marisol denies the gift. She says she's spooked. I think, in my opinion, if I give something to somebody and they don't like the gift, I can't be so sad about it. I just can't. I got to know I did something good. It might not be fitting. It's not the right fit. Let it be. Don't personalize it. And I felt that too, because when Marisol goes, because Adriana steps in and, well, they're good vibes. That's what they were for. And we wanted to. I don't care. I don't want them from you. Get away. You know what I mean? Like, get away. But again, that builds up this Adriana and Julia. Oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. Oh, woe is me. Marisol so mean. That's what they do. And then they get mad, so it's just in terms of me watching, I don't need anyone to do anything, because these women are all wonderful. They're all sharing their lives. They're giving a great television show. Opportunity comes, let me jump on a show. I don't know that I could always make everyone in the fan base happy. So to that, I give all of them a great round of applause, because they are doing something really wonderful and fun, mostly fun and wonderful and shady and all the things. So they are to be celebrated. So let's say that. But it does go to a place. Julia seems to get riled up with then kind of what's going on with Marisol, and she jumps right to Alexia and says, "Oh, are you kind of looking at me like that because we have unresolved stuff from back in the day in terms of when they went to Key West and they had their little issue?" And it wasn't a little issue by any means. I will give that. It wasn't a little issue. But I feel like there's just a better way to bring that up. It was a very, dare I say, passive aggressive way for Julia to bring that up, right? And then the Barracuda reference seemed to really make people laugh, and I'm just like, that can't be humor. That can't be humor. That wasn't funny. I mean, like, the bar is low. The bar is low. So for the, Julia stands, it's like, oh, she told her she looked like a barracuda, and guess what she does? And what? I mean, my taste level is just too different from some people's, I suppose. And that's to say, I'm wearing a purple shirt and a hat that doesn't match. But jeez, like, come on. Anyways, moving on. And I look beautiful anyway. Thank you. So that becomes their little thing. The girls start to laugh. Lisa says, I just wanted to see what a barracuda looks like. And, the whole table sort of reacts in that way. And then Larsa decides, well, I'm not going to let the scene go on without, saying something. So things get off on the wrong foot. And I guess, in my opinion, this was actually very good. This was Larsa saying, oh, it's like me and Nicole. We didn't really get along at the beginning. So then that kind of carried over. And it carried over to a point that from this point on, everything that anyone says, I'm going to rephrase it. And I thought that actually made a lot of sense. She was saying it like, oh, yeah, if you don't like the person, you'll suddenly hear the same sentence differently. If you like the person, you're like, oh, she's a great mystery. You'll say it one way. If you've already deemed you don't like the person, you'll see that and you'll turn it into like, well, what? She called me mysterious. And Larsa kind of threw the word like, this bitch thinks I'm mysterious. And then it became like a, did she call her a bitch, or was she using it as like slang? Like, bitch, you don't know me, like like slangish or whatever, I guess was the way they were trying to describe it. But um I, I guess I would need someone to. Larsa didn't do that. Did she do enough to make Adriana feel that way? Now we go on to find later on that Adriana is going through some stuff, but I don't know. Like, I thought it was actually an insightful step in for Larsa. Hey, this is what happened, and by the way, you had this issue. The boom and boom, just kind of trying to explain it. But Adriana went such to the negative, and she said, "Well, you're the bitch." Well, until Larsa says, "Oh, well, I'll beat your." Larsa really said, "I'll beat your ass." Crazy. What a show. What show are we watching? This was supposed to be a different show, and now Housewives it's just so there's the I'm gonna beat your ass. There's the you calling the person a bitch. I don't like any of it. And one thing you know about me is I don't like when it gets to the physical level, even though nothing really happened. I don't think you should be calling somebody a bitch and then throwing a glass right by them. Sure, you could say I didn't throw it at her, but you were doing it to create a gesture. You were trying to give an intimidation factor. I would have said, Adriana, don't ever talk to me ever again. And by the way, Larsa ended up, after she said what she said, she ended up going up to her and kind of like, hey, listen, we'll support you, because it's at the point where Adriana's just really so broken that even people that are receiving her negativity have to kind of like decide or say, I'm gonna check up on her because this is getting bad. And so this is where it gets complicated. Yeah, in my opinion. This is where it gets complicated because Adriana says some really tough things, in the vein of, if I were to pass away, that would kill my mother, and I have no family in Miami. My family are my friends. Why does everyone treat me like a fair weather friend? And then she said the most difficult thing, which was, I don't have anyone. So if something were to happen to me, even my dog would probably, and they would find me days later, and my dog may have been also, unnourished and unfed and stuff like that. And the dog would be dead right by her. Really a rough explain, how she explained herself. But I mean, I'm glad she expressed herself, because we're by no means making light of any of that. But here's where it gets difficult, because you can't have all of that in you and then still have bad behavior, because then there's the line of like, when do we give you sympathy? When do we not? There's just a lot that Adriana will probably have to do looking inward, I think, is what it comes down to. I do like the way everyone rallied around her a little bit, because there's a time that, it's like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. That Adriana needs to go to sleep. She needs to just like, I'm referring to Housewives of New York. Yeah, like no one wants that for Adriana, but at the same time, you can't use all of that's built in and that is painful within, and then lash out, is all I would say. But it is a difficult situation, am I right? Even if you're an Adriana fan, or if you're not, right? It's it's a little, yeah, it's a little difficult, because you don't want to see anybody be brought to that. Then again, it was the rage and release ritual, so that was the rage and that was the release. The girls end up going to the coast there, or I mean, right by the water, and they're raging. As I said earlier, not all of them really like gave it as much as they should, except for Kiki. But Kiki goes there, and we like that. The girls are kind of playing, and here's where we make a bad situation worse, because again, thinking about how this happened after Adriana already cried some really emotional things that I make no light of. I could not like Adriana as much as I like Larsa, but I make no light of what she's going through. But then this happened. It's just like the perfect miracle, right? Not miracle, but the perfect storm, I guess. The girls are kind of playing around. I guess Kiki picks up Gertie and then drops her. And in the process of the of the dropping, um, Adriana's like, "Oh, my foot! You broke my foot! You broke my foot! My foot is broken! You broke my foot! You broke my foot! My foot is broken!" um, the hard part about it is, they show the slow motion. It doesn't look like it's too much, in the vein of broken foot, but let's say that it is. It's just Adriana. We see the moment with Adriana with the cane. She's being carried by a medic. Even when she's carried by the medic, they're having a hard time getting up the stairs. Like, it's a whole perfect storm. Julia decides to pop off and say, "Oh, it's so sad that no one's there for her." It's just like, she said it a couple times, probably last episode and going forward on the next episode. It's like this whole, well, I don't have a blind alliance to Adriana, and it kind of looks like you do, and sometimes when you are there for somebody in that way, you're just giving them a pass to act out of line, kind of. Adriana struggles, so I don't want to get too excited about it. I want her to get the help she needs. I want her to be healthy, all the things. But it is more on the annoying side, and it's even more on the annoying side when you, Adriana, and Julia start being like, "Woe is me," and like kind of talking bad about the other women because they weren't there for you. It almost feels like there's a cried wolf situation. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, it's kind of starting to feel that. I don't know. Oh, I need more water. So, take care of yourself for 1 second. I was realizing that I was like, I drink a lot of water and I hadn't had any. And I was like, my mouth is a little dry. So I had to have the water. Okay, we're back. Thank you. Um, bu- 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 um, Lisa decides to head back early to Miami, which is great because we know this upcoming scene of Leah Black is back, so that's going to be great. Um, and I guess that's just what Lisa has to do. She says she doesn't want to be in a situation where Lenny could use any of these vacations or getaways against her. So I guess I kind of understand that, but I kind of don't like when Lisa leaves. I love Lisa into the show. Like, it's just, I really like it. So she's missed when she goes. Um the ladies are getting ready for a trip to a private island as set up by Dr. Nicole, and they're going to go on a boat. Everyone's excited. Everyone's just talking about the night before, and excuse me. And then they're all having a good time, which is great because you've got Larsa there with Dr. Nicole, Gertie, Kiki, Adriana, I'm sorry, Alexia and Marisol, and everything feels great. But then you get the the music change even in the episode where coming up with the wheelchair is Adriana and Julia. Now they don't decide to just go into the suite. They decide to listen like weirdos. And sometimes it's like that thing when you try to find a problem, you're going to find one. And yes, were they talked about? Sure. But I mean, it was a pretty unique situation. I don't think Adriana, not everything is to make fun of you, but for Adriana, I think that she thinks that it is. And maybe that's where the problem is. You hear a lot of the girls talking about each other in a way that's like funny and humorous. Not everything is like, not everything should be taken as you talk in shit because it's, I don't know that it is. Nicole finds that they're supposed to go, oh, this is what they had heard, and this is what Nicole presented to the room. Nicole finds out that this whole issue that a lot of people were having, in terms of like Julia and this damn gift, did it come from the Botanica or what, and where was the intention, and all the things caused a lot of problems. And this is where I say, Julia, nice nasty. Like, you playing a little? Are you playing dumb? I mean, dare I say? And so it turns out all of that speculation, which was very could have been like rightfully so for people like, I don't know, I don't want this gift, throwing it off the ledge. I probably would throw your gift off the ledge anyway. But it's like I feel like Julia had no problem letting everyone believe what they wanted to believe. It was at a gift shop. Dr. Nicole called and found out it was just a regular gift shop. There was no significance in that, in all that, right? it's just like Julia loves this. Like, that's what I'm saying. She may not be nice, nasty. That's not the word we'll define for her, but she's definitely playing herself down for oh, I didn't know that would cause a problem, or wow, Marisol, you make me so sad that you threw I was just trying to help. Like, leave me alone is what I would tell Julia. Like I said, people love doing the whole I'm the victim now in Housewives. It's kind of becoming a thing, even on other franchises. So I don't know. But again, Julia must have redeeming qualities because, well, really, it's just Martina, but people do like her. Other people have. I listen to a lot of shows and episodes, and I always try to get as much information. I hear all the interviews with all the cast members. We of course know that they come and watch this show. Thank you. Hi, Larsa. Larsa, of course, watches. Larsa loves her some randomly Ronnie Jr. That is a fact. Take it to the bank. Oh, real quick. Speaking of bank, speaking of OnlyFans, no, we're not speaking of OnlyFans, but speaking of like helping out and contributions, I guess you would say. I did want to say, I think we have a little bit of information here. If you wanted to support the channel here, this goes for Russell's stuff too. You can go to these sites to support them. RussellRaySilva.com. Of course, you get all the information and links you out to his YouTube channel. RandomlyRonnieJr.com. Same thing. And if you want to make it rain just the way Larsa's feet, were raining with money last season, hit the Patreon. It's additional content. It's all good stuff. Patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr. One of the things I say, oh wait, we have a fun picture too. Remember when Marisol had this in the lipstick in her teeth? Marisol. We've got so much. Dr. Anthony. Ooh, Dr. Anthony. Yes. Oh my God, I'm a pig. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. I got other stuff I can play or show, but not right now. Where were we at? Oh, the oddness of being in the wheelchair. Oh no, we were past that. The gift shop is really all that Julia went to in terms of her best wishes. And sometimes people just don't like your gift. We'll just leave it at that. Sometimes people don't like your gift. As Marisol says, "Ay, por favor," and leave it. I don't want it. I don't want anything of your energy to come my way. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I'm Team Marisol when it comes to that. Anyways, once they get outside and Adriana is being wheelchaired around, they get in the boat as they're going to the private island, and Adriana's fire. And it is catchy and fun, and there is a level of, though I've critiqued Adriana a lot, I can never critique anyone who gets up and does something. You know what I mean? That's the one thing that, like, I had always worked in radio or television, or even the podcast industry, and it was always like me going to this major company, and giving my service, whatever that may be, to each of the jobs and become really good at that, behind the camera, in front of the camera, all the things. But I will tell you that when I started to do independent content creation, which is why I said, hit the patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr. Support. You want a better set? Support. And what I'm getting around to saying is, even if Adriana's stuff wasn't the greatest of greatest, I still admire her pushing herself out there. I still think she gave something. Was it a novelty song? Just real, Miami themed kind of vibe? Yes. Is she in delusion to think it's going to climb up the charts? Yes. But I still can stand behind this woman of a certain age, looking as gorgeous as she is, and maybe, as we're learning, has less in terms of family than we even knew. Like, that's your story. That's the story they should be following next season on Real Housewives of Miami, season 6, when Adriana is still a part-timer. We don't need her to be a full-timer, but we can give a little bit of like, that's why she's acting the way she's acting, because there is a little bit of a love void. She cried. We'll leave it at that. But I'm just going to say that I'm really happy for her. I'm happy for anyone in a situation that others can't understand, because that, not everyone needs to understand what she's going through, or they could say, oh, come on, pick yourself up. She's still going through it. That's the thing. excuse me. That's the thing about like a depression, or when you get into those funks or whatever, or even worse, everyone on the outside will be able to tell you why you're crazy, not crazy, but like you're going, why are you going through it? You have a lot going for you, but when you're in it, it's tough. So I will say that within all that, I liked that they celebrated Adriana, and I liked that they had fun, even if they did it to make her happy. If they did it because they were like, "Yo, the girl's really challenged right now. She's going through it. Let's have a fun moment with her." Even if they did it in that way, I would be okay as well. And again, good for Adriana. She looked wonderful. In terms of the music video when they shot it, but I want to see her have that humor. She just needs to not act up when she doesn't get her way. That's the key. So I don't know. One of the things I try to do with these episodes is be as fair as possible. So just because I'll say, come on, Adriana, this, and this. Come on, Julia, this, and this. If I see something redeemable, right? Is that the word? Like a redeeming quality, I will want to affirm it and uplift it. And, Adriana, I think we've stated this. She is the most, right? She's the oldest on this franchise. So even that, she could feel isolated and lonely. But let's hear more of her story. I don't want to be too sympathetic to her because she still is the girl who turned right around and hit Joanna Krupa. She still is the hothead. It's hard to have the sympathy for somebody who's not really always behaved in the best manners, even from before. Season 1, season 2, season 3, I was not a fan at all. And I love Housewives of Miami, but I was like, why is this woman on the show? Like, did not like her whatsoever. Season 4 was not better, but I think, she's a part-timer. I'll take it in stride. And even that's got to do something to your ego and your confidence. So there's a chance for Adriana to really come out on the other side of this. So I'm not dismissing some of her behavior, but I don't know. I want to win for people sometimes. And I want Adriana to have a win. So hopefully she knows what to do with that win, and finds a new love of her life, and grabs a friend circle and regains her friendship with Adriana, uh, with Alexia and Marisol and Lisa and Larsa or whoever. Yeah, we wish the best for her. Okay, so the song is like a healing power, like I said, fire. Miami's hot, hot, hot. It's great. Adriana thanks the group, and then begs for sympathy though for her foot. So while she's happy, she starts to beg for the sympathy, and she starts to beg for it in a way that it feels directed, like you weren't there for me. Once you do that, that's kind of a slippery slope when you start, I don't know, it just could have stuck on the positive, but it didn't. Now, to prove her point, she explains that Alexia knows all about it because, and I can't even mention it, the unmentionable thing of Alexia, that this can happen to this, and then this could happen, and then an accident could turn into this. Basically, she took Alexia back to when all of that happened with Frankie. And we know probably to a degree Adriana didn't mean it in that way, but I've got to do the like shame on Adriana, because the thing that hurt me the most watching Alexia there, and in this case, I don't think that Alexia was like playing the victim, but like what really hurt more than like that she said it and who it came from, because a lot of times when we get hurt by people, it's like, what did you say? And then we're better than this, especially if Adriana says we were so close. Like, why would you say that? And I know Adriana's intentions weren't all the way bad, but it's not what she said. It's how she reacted to Alexia, like very nonchalant. No, I was just saying this. I didn't mean, I was just, once you hear somebody say, I was just, they're not on your side, or not even trying. I was just, well, what I was just doing was not waiting for you to be defensive. Listen to what my heart says. And the part that got me the most is it felt like, let's say, all the years of Alexia having to talk about this. She does the green screens. She's got a producer, and they're saying, what was this like, and how have you gotten through it? And she's cried many a times, rightfully so. And I know the drinks were flowing too, but what Adriana sort of took her to, by the way of her words, she kind of took her back to that place. And if you take somebody back to that place, I wouldn't, in my mind, that could be so scary to have Alexia relive that. Not that she's not done it all the time, but to be brought up in such a nonchalant way in an experience that you don't really think that it would come out. I was very disappointed in Adriana with that. Did she not know the severity? I will say maybe, but she also really, she didn't back it up. Like she wasn't 10 toes down. Like, I'll say it again. She wasn't doing that, but she was very like, no, but I'm just saying like this could have happened. And once you do that, false equivalency, like, first of all, nothing happened to your foot, and she almost lost her son. This was rough. This was rough in the vein of Adriana. I try so hard to like Adriana, but I just think, to me it was all damn Alexia. She puts everything into this show. She doesn't always step correctly, but she puts so much into this show, and she really showed a lot more of her in terms of us connecting to that pain. And so, yeah. And anyways, it's a to be continued, and I'll be back with the Russell Ray Silva, and we'll talk about all of the things on the episode 15 of the recap of Real Housewives of Miami season number 5. I just have to remind you, because I know that you love me as much as I love you. If you want to make it rain on my Patreon, go to patreon.com/randomlyRonnieJr. The YouTube channel is linked to randomlyronniejr.com. And if you want to support Russell Ray's new YouTube channel, it's russellraysilva.com. He's also recapping the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So it's kind of a nice 1-2 punch. We cover Real Housewives of Miami here on my channel, Real Housewives of New Jersey, Team Melissa, on his channel. So it's good. I gotta go now because there's just so much going on. Busy recording day. Usually when I do an episode, there's like a lot more of stuff like this. Why is it not going? Or Russell doing it. Usually I have a ton of more photos or whatnot. And the show's like really put together, but I have had a very busy-ish weeks. So just glad to be recapping this great show, and talking about how much I love Larsa. And again, all of these women put themselves out there to be recorded, to be judged in a really harsh way. So salute to them all for being on this hit show. And we want no negativity within it all. Anyways, jumping out of here, that was the end of Real Housewives of Miami season 5 episode 14. I'll be back for episode 15 on the next one. And if you want to see more of my episodes, go to #randomly with Ronnie Jr. Everything is all linked together, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I gotta go. Gotta drink some water and maybe have some tea as well. I'll be back. Talk to you later.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.